Hey guys, Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around was Rise of the Cybermen. What was that one about, aside from the Rise of the Cybermen?
Now, barely recalling this, we finished our last show last Sunday. Our last big thing of the season is tonight. We have our awards ceremony. But here's what I remember. The TARDIS lands literally in an alternate reality. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but the TARDIS was supposedly dead for the first part of it until the Doctor figured out there was some way he could revive it. But on this planet, where they are in London, ostensibly in the 21st century, instead of the Cybermen coming from Mondas or some other planet, they have been created by an elderly man who's obviously a billionaire who is somehow thinking that this is the way to cure all the world's diseases, but he's also taking out human emotions. Anyway, it was very complicated, but it gives a completely different origin story to the Cybermen. And of course, at the very end, the Doctor and Rose and Mickey and everybody else was in, fear of being deleted, not exterminated. I was almost going to say exterminated there, but deleted is the new Cybermen's term.
Yeah, so, and we got to see alternate universe versions of Pete and Jackie and Mickey. He's Ricky now. And we've got, so Ricky is the head of the rebellion, basically, the 3-person rebellion out of their kitchen, where Pete Tyler is rich beyond belief, and he's kind of tied into the whole Cyberman plot, perhaps by accident, but he and the Doctor and Rose and Mickey and Ricky and the Rebels are all about to be deleted by the Cybermen. That's pretty much where we left off. So, interesting. Not the greatest episode we've ever seen. Not even particularly the greatest Cyberman episode we've ever seen. But it was okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you know me. It's been so friggin' long. I'm not even sure exactly what all happens in this episode. And
there was kind of a major redesign of the Cybermen, if I recall.
Yeah, they're much more sleek. I mean, they are very similar to their like where they were with like the 5th Doctor and stuff, whereas that more sleek, smoother, metallic look, but it's like a lot more angular, maybe a lot more stocky. So,
and we have not heard in this episode if they are allergic to gold or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So that may be coming up in the Age of Steel.
Yeah. So they have the. Did they say? I can't remember if it was 2 weaknesses or if it's just the gold. I seem to remember there was something else, but I can't think of it right now. But the gold is the definite one that's been brought up so many times. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Again, I don't remember. So that's pretty much that. You got anything else?
I got nothing.
We might as well jump right into this episode of Doctor Who. Here we go.
So I may have asked this before, but this opening, we've got the blue vortex, and then they go into the red vortex. Is that supposed to mean that there are different time vortexes or vortices?
I have no idea. I don't think so. It just changes the color. Oh!
What the hell was that?
Good job. Whatever that was.
I've got to go back. My wife's in there.
Anyone inside that house is dead. If you want to help them, don't let her die for nothing. You've got to come with us right now.
Take the stuff out of your ears.
Rose, she's not your mother.
I know. Finish chatting! Never seen a shrew get away with
What was that thing?
Got a bit of technology from my home.
It stopped glowing as it ran out.
Sort of revitalizing loop, but it'll charge back up in about 4 hours.
Oh, he's
so
the
we don't
thing.
have a weapon anymore.
Encrypted wavelength 657 using binary 9. That's the only reason I was working for Lumik, to get information. I thought was broadcasting to the security services. What do I get? Scooby-Doo and his gang. They've got the van.
No, but the preachers know what they're doing. Ricky said he's London's most wanted. Yeah, that's not exactly what? I'm London's most wanted for parking tickets.
I knew you weren't a traitor.
Take
Why is
those
that
things
then?
out of your ears.
Seriously.
They're called Cybermen. And I take those earpods off if I were you.
There you go.
Thing is, I've seen Cybermen before, haven't I? The head, those handle shapes in Van Statten's museum.
Oh, there are Cybermen in our universe. They started on an ordinary world just like this, then swarmed across the galaxy. This lot are a parallel version. They're starting from scratch right here on Earth.
What the hell are you two on about?
Meh.
You are exactly like me. I don't know, I reckon you're braver. Oh yeah, 10 times. Still, your friends aren't bad, I'll give you that. Oh, that's the Doctor and Rose. I just tag along behind. Well, then you're not that bad. Do you think? Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Cyberman. Let's split up.
Got some military types who know how to march in unison,
Meh.
or dancers.
Meh. Man, fences are powerful. You can't climb them, the Cyberman can't get through them.
I'd like to request an upgrade, sir. I've seen the future, and it's copyright Cybers Industries. Sign me up.
A willing
Sounds a bit like Michael Caine.
You've known me
Well,
a
yeah.
long time, sir.
I will upgrade. Only with my last breath. And breathe no more. No! I got on you! No!
Someone didn't think this through.
The whole of London's been sealed off and the entire population's being taken inside that place. To be converted.
We've got to get in there and shut it down.
How do we do that?
Oh, I'll think of something.
You're just making this up as you go along.
Yep. But I do it brilliantly.
Mickey! Good luck.
Yeah, you too. Rose, I'll see you later.
Yeah, you better.
If we survive this, I'll see you back at the TARDIS.
That's a promise.
That's not foreboding at all.
I've got a hot dog in there, I'm starving.
Of all the things to wish for, that's mechanically recovered meat.
It's the Cyberman of food that is tasty.
Worked at Cybers Industries, 9 to 5. Till one day I found something I'm not supposed to. A file on the mainframe. All I did was read it. Then suddenly I've got men with guns knocking in the middle of the night. Life on the run. Then I found the preachers. They needed a techie, so I just sat down and told myself everything.
Go on then. What's your real name?
Angela Price. Don't tell us all.
Not a word.
Real name detected. Going to post on Twitter.
Now I am Cyber form once I was Jacqueline Tyler.
You can't be.
Her brain is inside this body.
Jax, I came to save you!
This man worked with Cybers Industries to create our species. He will be rewarded by force. Take him to cyber control.
Whether you like it or not.
Eh. You will be happy. Well, you won't. You'll be a Cyberman.
Maybe we can reverse it. There's nothing we can do. But if she remembers...
But there's nothing left to reverse.
Nice one. Nobody's home. Find the transmitter controls. What do they look like? Well, I don't know. They might have transmitter controls written in big red letters. Just look.
You heard not upgraded.
Yeah, well, upgrade this.
What the hell was that thing?
Electromagnetic bomb.
Heart and steel?
Positronic heart.
No. Emotional inhibitor. Stops them feeling anything. But why? Still got a human brain. Imagine its reaction if it could see itself, realise itself inside this thing.
Where's Gareth?
Who's Gareth?
He can't see me. It's unlucky the night before.
You're getting married.
I'm cold. I'm so cold.
It's alright. You sleep now, Sally. Let's go to sleep.
You killed her?
The emotional inhibitor, if we could find the code behind it, the cancellation code, then feed it throughout the system into every Cyberman's head, they'd realise what they are.
And what happens then?
I think it would kill them. We do that.
We've got to.
You literally just
Before we
did.
kill everyone else. There's no choice, Doctor. It's got to be done.
You made this choice before, Doctor, with the Daleks.
No, Mrs. Moore.
Then we get the chance to meet our Lord and Master.
He has been upgraded.
So it's just like you.
He is superior. The Lumic unit has been designated Cyber Controller.
Emperor of the Cybermen.
He's got a bigger chair now.
Come and have a go.
Good job, Mickey. Really good job, Mickey.
What is your name?
I'm the Doctor.
A redundant title. Doctors need not exist. Cybermen never sicken.
Yeah, but that's it. That's exactly the point. Oh, Lumic, you're a clever man. I call you a genius, except I'm the room. But everything you've invented, you did to fight your sickness, and that's brilliant. That is so human. But once you get rid of sickness and mortality, then what's there to strive for? Because those ordinary people, they're the key. The most ordinary person can change the world. Some ordinary man or woman. Some idiot. All it takes is for him to find...
I'm an idiot.
What an idiot. Computers these days. Knows how to get past firewalls and passwords. Knows how to find something encrypted in the Lumic family database. Under, what was it, Pete? Binary what?
Binary 9.
Binary 9. An idiot can find that code. Cancellation
And with
code.
one hand.
And he'd keep on typing. Like this.
Good job. Look at all the suffering. We did it. And then they exploded.
I gave them back their souls. They can see what you've done, Lumic, and it's killing them.
Goodbye.
Darth Lumic.
PlayStation. Rose.
Is that Lumic?
Yeah. Wait, this is the most sturdy rose ladder. Or rope ladder. I'm getting confused. Oh, it's like the Lion King. Thank goodness the sonic screwdriver works on rope. Although maybe it's cyber rope.
Just that.
When you tell the authorities, try not to be the Prime Minister. It doesn't always work out.
Reminds me of that line from Cyrano. The only man I've ever loved, and now I've lost him twice.
Mrs. Moore, her real name is Angela Price. She's got a husband out there, and children. Find them. Tell them how she died saving the world.
Yeah, of course I will.
Yeah.
Off we go then.
Thing is, I'm staying.
What?
You doing what?
Rose, my brand's here. She's still alive, my whole brand. Remember her?
Yeah.
She needs me.
What about me? What if I need you?
Yeah, but Rose, you don't. It's just you and him, isn't it? We had something a long time ago, but not anymore.
Man,
We'll come back.
it's character
We can
development.
travel anywhere.
Take Rose's phone. It's got the code. Get it out there. Stop those factories. Good luck. Mickey the idiot.
Who would have thought me and you off the oldest day, flying through the stars?
All these years just sitting there. Imagining what we'd do one day. We never saw this, did we?
No one ever does.
Jake, you wanna watch this?
What the hell?
That's the doctor. In the TARDIS. With Rose Tyler. And let's go liberate Paris.
What, you and me? In a van?
Nothing wrong with that. I want to save the universe with a big yellow truck.
Alrighty.
Well, you got some... Again, whereas the story is... I don't want to say it's boilerplate. It's very similar to things that have happened to the Cybermen and the Daleks before. Do you have to admit, though, you got some really emotional acting there.
Yeah.
From Pete and Mickey and Rose and the Doctor and Mrs. Moore and all the rest of them. So, I mean, it's very well done. It achieves a lot of depth that classic Who rarely ever got into, because that was more about, monsters and flying saucers and alien planets. But this is the relationship between all the characters in New Who seems a lot stronger than it was in classic Who.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the thing with this episode that it's like the story is honestly very basic, but it's because of the characters that all of this is elevated. Because by the end of this episode, I'm like, man, we really went through a lot. And then I'm just like, this is like the most simple robots try to take over the world story I've ever seen. But you're right. It's those characters that elevate it.
Yeah.
And especially in this episode too, because last episode, I guess because it was more set up and it was just focusing on, well, here's Pete Tyler again, but he's kind of different, and here's Jackie, but she's not that different from the Jackie we know. She's got some more money, whereas this one was more on, maybe because there was more conflict because the Cybermen were present throughout the whole episode. So,
and I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us, I said this last week, the actor who played Lumic looks very familiar, and I can't quite place him.
Yeah. So.
And the lady who played Mrs. Moore also began to look familiar, but I think I'm confusing her with somebody else. So I'll look them up afterwards. So.
Yeah, so. But yeah, just an actual, like, this second part definitely, I think, fixes a lot of the issues that part 1 had. So, and honestly, like, now watching this, again, all these years later and stuff, having watched everything else, this really reminds me of in Tom Baker's final season when they accidentally went into E-space and, they found Adric there, and then they had the Warriors Gate episode, which was a whole mess. But at the end of that, Romana stayed behind to help the furry lion dudes and help liberate them from where they were. And it's, honestly, I'm seeing a lot of that, and I've never thought of that before, that Mickey's story basically wraps up pretty much the same as Romana's story.
Yeah.
So,
for a moment, I thought that they were going to take Mrs. Moore with them. It didn't occur to me that they'd leave Mickey behind, but she was being set up. She was a very interesting character, and yes, her death is not only unexpected, it almost seemed gratuitous. But and I say that because it comes out of nowhere. I mean, you weren't expecting it, and the fact that her story ends so abruptly, and she doesn't get the farewell, that some of the others got, other than the doctor saying to the young friend, can't remember what his name was,
Jake,
to find her family, her husband and her kids, and tell them that she died saving the world. So, I mean, it was just, she's a very interesting character. I would have liked to have seen more of what she could have done in the future. Self-taught tech. Obviously, she could have replaced Mickey because that's essentially what he was doing.
Yeah.
The tin dog.
Yeah. I think maybe part of it, too, is that the Cybermen in this episode are very inconsistent on, like, because they say, the people that get upgraded are the ones that have the ear pods in. And so, they're brain controlled and they go and they get upgraded. And everyone else, because they don't have ear pods in, are rejected, So all of them would have been rejected, and that's essentially why they just instantly killed Mrs. Moore. But, on the other hand, Lumic then says, well, if we can't use the ear pods, then we'll just upgrade them by force. Well, why don't you just do that in the first place? Like, honestly, I don't really see the point of the ear pods other than the fact that, I guess just because, it's a commentary on, humanity being too connected to their devices and stuff, and it's an easier way. I guess it is a bit easier than just creating, and maybe because he didn't have enough Cybermen to do that. I don't know. It's like, it honestly just seems like it's just two different things of like, yeah, well, why wouldn't the Cybermen just, like, instead of killing Mrs. Moore, stun her, capture her and the doctor, she gets sent off to be processed, and the doctor goes for analysis because they can detect that he's so much different from them.
Yeah.
So
now, again, Lumic has not unlimited resources. Obviously, he's very, very wealthy, but like they said, they only had like 6,500 Cybermen ready to use, and of course, if their planet is similar to ours, there's 7 or 8 billion people. Yeah. But to your point about the AirPods, and yes, it is somewhat of a commentary on our addiction to social media, but like addiction, what they're doing is like what the pushers are doing. They'll say, hey, want to try a free sample, and they get you hooked on it, and that way, once you're hooked on it, then they can start doing whatever they want to you. So, hey, you're willing to put in the earplugs, we'll give you, and again, that goes back all the way to the Who's rock opera Tommy, put in the earplugs, put on the eye shades, you know where to put the cork. It basically, once you taste that little sample, we've got you hooked, then we can upgrade you, and then you can go out, and once I have a big enough army, if he gets an army of 1 billion Cybermen, it would be very obviously easy then to take over the rest of the world. But you got to start somewhere, and that struck me as that seemed to be where that was going.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's also the thing of, like, with the discount Michael Caine guy, where it's like, he was bringing in, all these homeless people to be converted into Cybermen, but the second Lumic activates the ear pods, he manages to get them out of his ears somehow. He didn't just instantly take him over for some reason. And then he decides, well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to kill Lumic and put an end to this. And it's like, what changed exactly? Like, you knew this was going to happen. You were a part of this, and eventually you knew you were going to be upgraded, so...
But you remember in the first episode, wasn't he the one who was arguing and says we have to have this approved by the UN High Council, or we have to talk to Geneva, I think he said. So he was all for it as long as it was going to be a benefit to humanity. But once he realized that Lumic was simply doing it to create an army that he could control, that's, I think, when he said, I'm gonna pull the plug on my own earpods.
I
think that's what they were trying to say.
Maybe, but the character you're talking about at the beginning of the last episode, that was a different character, and the Cybermen that were there just killed that guy. So, like, and then we get the other guy that we see here, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a thing of just, I don't know. It seems like an inconsistency to me, at least, but well, we did have the, I guess, second weakness to the Cybermen in this episode is emotions. If they can, remove the emotional inhibitor, then that will not only drive them insane, it will literally just detonate their heads, basically.
Now, but Mrs. Moore also had the little electromagnetic something bomb, hand grenade, holy hand grenade of Antioch.
Yeah. I mean, that was enough to at least disable a Cyberman, not outright kill it. And it's an interesting thing, too, because when they talk about, well, it's like, well, they have to take away the emotions or else, they'll be driven insane and stuff. It's interesting because you can honestly compare them to the Daleks at that point, that it's like, well, the Daleks, the difference is they're not humanoid creatures converted to this. They were once the Khalids, but they just took those genes and mutated and created a new species, and so they were born the squid, basically. they had all of that from the beginning, but because of that, their only emotion is rage and anger, which is why the Daleks are the way they are. So it's an interesting thing, especially just because because the Daleks and the Cybermen are honestly really similar, but it's interesting to see like how Doctor Who approaches separating the two of them from just being, screaming robots that try to kill you.
Now, you probably know this because you've watched New Who. In the future, is there ever going to be basically a Daleks versus Cybermen type episode? I will remember this, so.
It could potentially happen that the two of them will meet each other. Yeah. So.
And it's surprising that they haven't met yet. Since they both have essentially the same goal in mind, which is domination of the galaxy or the universe.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think they missed a little point that they could have put in. Again, don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of what I would consider padding in either one of these episodes. But like the Doctor, grabbed some woman's jewelry from the party that was gold and, shoved it in the Cyberman's mouth and nothing happened. So we go, so that doesn't work here.
Yeah, that is the thing that's distinctly lacking in this episode is the weakness to gold. I understand why they didn't do it, because in a sense, it's a really weird weakness to have. Yeah. That they are just, for some reason, their immune system, they just cannot take gold for whatever reason.
Well, it is a relatively rare metal.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the reasons why it's so valuable. When I was teaching world history, whenever we got around to the rise of coins and then paper money, I'd always tell the class, as a metal, gold is worthless. It's so malleable that you can literally almost bend it with your fingers and your hands. But the reason why people like it, number one, it's pretty. But number two, it is rare. And if you have a coinage system where you need it to have value, you need to have something that not everybody can have. It's also like why royalty in the ancient world would wear the Tyrian purple, because that was a color that was so expensive to make that no one but royalty could afford it. So I kind of understand where they were going with that. But yeah, you're right. other than, killing werewolves with silver bullets, killing Cybermen with gold bullets seemed kind of odd.
Yeah, it's such a specific weakness to have, and maybe too because it's like maybe once you get to modern times, maybe it's just more readily available to have gold, so maybe they wanted to cut that out, or maybe they're thinking, okay, we have so many new fans watching Doctor Who for the first time. They don't know the Cybermen. If we introduce gold, it's just going to be silly.
Yeah.
And especially when you have the more poignant weakness of they will go insane once they actually realize what they are. So
their brain's inside of a tin can.
Yeah. And it's more tragic that way.
Yeah.
I mean, when they were talking to the one Cyberman, it's this incredibly sad thing that, just hearing, especially too, because it doesn't change the voice back or anything. It's still that Cyberman voice, but saying these things you would never imagine a Cyberman saying, So, and it's interesting they talk about, should we do this? This is such a horrible thing to do to them, to make them live through those emotions, realizing what they are, and essentially killing them with that. But what alternative is there, really?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you either do that, or they live on in this horrific body that they've been forcibly given, and then they will take over the Earth and everyone else will be like that, So it's an interesting thing. And I like that they kind of talked about the morality of that, but I like that they ended on, it's like, it's terrible, but it's something that has to be done.
Yeah.
So,
well, and again, there's been a huge change since Tom Baker decided not to destroy the Daleks before they could literally become what they were. He's now gone through the Time War. Eccleston constantly referred to how that had changed him. We know, and again, I only know this because in our tour of New Who, where we watched a couple of episodes, the Doctor does have lingering problems with how the Time War ended. So, he's looking at this going, I know this is theoretically not right, morally perhaps not right, but, the needs of the few, needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one, to go back to Star Trek. But he's saying, I have to stop the Cybermen here, or they will create more misery not only through the solar system, but throughout the galaxy and even the universe.
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing of, it's not even really, debating, well, was the Fourth Doctor right in what he did? It's like, it's not really a question about that, but more of just, can he bring himself to do that again after everything else he's been through? Yeah. So, and that's really interesting character drama for the Doctor. Yeah. So, they've definitely expanded on his character in modern Doctor Who. Not that he wasn't, great in all 7 of his, or 8 previous incarnations in classic Doctor Who, but giving this sort of ongoing story, this what is honestly angst, but this interesting character story for him. It's just really good. So, and we got a bit of Lumic, why he wanted to do this. Everyone will conform and be, all uniform and perfect and everything to him. But, then the Doctor says, but then the Cybermen are going to stall, you did all of this. You strove to create this very... it is an incredible thing. As terrible as it is, it's incredible. But you're not going to strive for anything else. You're all just going to stall out, and you're just going to be a bunch of metal men on a metal Earth not doing anything, It's kind of a strange thing with Lumic that it's because, they say it's he started out just trying to prolong his life. And it's okay, well, that's something. But then it's it's almost like we're missing the connecting thread, and maybe that's just insanity of trying to do this, but we're missing that connecting thread of why assimilate the whole Earth as Cybermen, and that seems to be the point, is that he doesn't have that connecting thread. He just went crazy and eventually got himself upgraded, And much like Davros, where, the Daleks look at him and think, well, you're inferior to us, so we're going to kill you. The Cybermen are like, well, you're still in your human body. That's not right. We need to, at least the Cybermen think they're helping him. They think they're doing a good thing for him by upgrading him into the cyber controller. So
it kind of reminds me too, there's an episode of the original series of Star Trek that the first movie was based on. It's where this probe basically has been sent out into space, and somehow it's tampered with so that it's seeking perfection. And the way they ultimately thwart it is by saying, but you do understand that you are created by human beings. And it says, yes, I understand that. And they said, but by your standards, human beings are imperfect. Said, yes, but imperfect people created you, therefore you cannot be perfect. And again, the internal logic of the probe basically says, you're right, I've got to blow myself up. And it's essentially what happens. But he's missing that point. Lumic is missing that point. Like you said, you take out their humanity, and there's no art, there's no poetry, there's no music, there's no nothing. What is there to do? You essentially end progress at that point. So, why would you do that?
Yeah, because let's say everyone on Earth is converted into a Cyberman. What do you do then? Do you wipe out all the animals? Because, the animals are still there on Earth. That's
cyber cows.
That's a lot of animals,
Cyber chickens.
There's animals on the land, there's animals in the sky, there's animals in the sea. Good luck getting to the very depths of the sea. I hope those metal suits, A, don't rust, and B, are are strong enough to deal with all that pressure. But it's like, but what do you do? Even if you do all of that, you cover the entire Earth in metal, you're just going to be standing around being like, well, there's nothing to do. I guess, you keep creating energy cells to prolong your own existence, but that doesn't do anything.
Well, at some point, depending on how long the cyber controller Lumic lives, then he says, well, since there's nothing more to do on this planet, then we go find other inhabitable planets and do the same to them. But again, the end point is that there is no end point. What happens, Alexander getting to India and sitting down and crying. His advisor said, why are you crying? He looked up and basically said, because I have no more worlds to conquer. What do you do when you achieve your goals? And that is basically what has fueled the development of mankind for, hundreds of thousands of years.
Well, yeah. And it's the exact same thing with the Daleks. If the Daleks were able to wipe out every other species in the universe, well, then what? Do they try and go to a different universe and do the same thing? Or I guess that's the main problem with the machine thinking of well, we must complete this task. It's but you can't complete that task. So that's why in Ghostlight, that's why he was I will complete my task because I'm going to kill all of you and then I'll be done. So that was at least proactive thinking.
It was logical.
So
it was totally wrong, but it was logical.
It wasn't a good thing, but at least it's I get where you're going. He at least came up with an end in mind. So, and then I guess, we kind of talked about it already, but the character development, I guess, of Mickey, going from, at the end of the very first episode, where he's clinging onto Rose because he's terrified of the Autons and stuff, to now he's going to go and liberate Paris in a van. It's incredible.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. And it's just a really interesting thing seeing how far he's come, honestly. You can point to the development of Rose and stuff, but maybe Mickey might be the more drastic evolution, Because, just that moment where they're standing there, it's all those days where we would just sit around and imagine what we'd be doing. Never thought it'd be this on a different Earth, just having defeated Robomen and saving that world before heading back in a police box to their Earth. So, So it's interesting. It's been an interesting arc, even just in these last, like, 3 episodes we've had that Mickey's been, 3 or 4 episodes now, I guess, from the Sarah Jane episode all the way to here. These 4 episodes is kind of mini arc for Mickey, and realizing he has a purpose. He can stick around, not replace Ricky, but he can honor him and at least do good by this world. So, Mickey the idiot. Or at least he's good for something. So, you got anything else?
I got nothing.
Alright, that's the end of our Cyberman 2-parter. Next up is episode 7, which I believe is called The Idiot's Lantern. Different idiot. So, these are different idiots. Don't worry. So, but that is basically it. With all of that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as now a playlist of every Doctor Who video that's on this channel, if you want to go watch those, like a weirdo. Or there's other links on screen and in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.